We were promised futuristic racing machines with the new 2026 regulations. Instead, for 60 minutes in Shanghai, Formula One looked less like the pinnacle of motorsport and more like a drift championship on ice. Lewis Hamilton spinning, rookies facing the wrong way, engines blowing up after 15 minutes. If this is what the Chinese Grand Prix looks like after just 1 hour of practice, the sprint is going to be absolute carnage. But buried under the smoke and the spins, one team just revealed a terrifying pace advantage that nobody saw coming, and it's not who you think. But before we dissect the chaos, I need a gut check from you guys. Kimi Antonelli. In Australia, he was 3 seconds off the pace. Today, he's practically matching George Russell. So, drop a comment right now. Is the rookie the real deal? Or did Mercedes just turn up his engine mode to give him some confidence? I'm reading the first 50 replies, so let me know who you think takes the internal battle this weekend. Okay, context is king. Remember, we are in Shanghai, and this is the first sprint weekend of the 2026 era. That means the teams had exactly 60 minutes, 1 single hour, to set up these incredibly complex active aero cars before they get locked into Parc Fermé. And the track? It was green. Low grip, dusty, and cold. Usually, teams spend FP1 doing methodical installation laps. Today, it was frantic. Everyone needed data immediately, but the track surface wasn't ready to give it to them. The tension was obvious right away. We saw Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris tangling early on. This wasn't just a whoops moment. Hamilton backed off, Norris had a mechanical lockup, and his front right tyre actually smacked the Ferrari side pod. Now, was that aggressive driving? Probably not. It looked like pure lack of grip, but it set the tone. Then you have the midfield struggles. Franco Colapinto in the Alpine did a full 180-degree rotation at turn 9. Then Ollie Behrman looped his Haas VF26. Here's why this matters. In previous years, a spin was just a spin. You cut the tyres, you lost the rear. But under these 2026 regulations, these spins are telling us something scary about the cars themselves. The rear axles are unstable. They aren't just loose, they are mechanically unpredictable. And while the drivers were fighting the cars were fighting to stay alive. Poor Arvid Lindblad. Coming off a P8 debut in Australia, huge hype train, and 15 minutes in, game over. What actually broke on Lindblad's car? We saw what looked like grey, smoky, steaming stuff, technical term I know, pouring out of the car. If that's a power unit failure this early in the weekend, his sprint is already compromised. But the real headline isn't the reliability. It's why Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time champion, looked like he forgot how to drive at turn 6. Let's look at this spin again. This isn't a driver error. This is a science experiment gone wrong. The 2026 cars rely on active aerodynamics. When you hit the brakes, the rear wing flaps are supposed to snap back into a high downforce position to glue the car to the road. This is called reattachment. What we're seeing with Hamilton, and even Max Verstappen to an extent, is that the air isn't reattaching fast enough. Imagine running towards a cliff edge expecting a parachute to open behind you, and it opens half a second late. That's what Lewis felt at turn 6. The rear end just said no. But here's where it gets interesting. Ferrari brought a specific upgrade to fix this, and it might be the reason they're struggling. It's the rotating rear wing. They tested it briefly, but now it's here for real. It's supposed to be their silver bullet to close the gap to Red Bull and Mercedes. But right now, it looks like it's introducing a variable that even Hamilton can't predict. And it's not just the top teams. The reliability issues are weirdly specific. Remember Colapinto? When his Alpine died in the pit lane, it didn't smoke. It just turned off. Total confusion. The McLaren mechanics right next door were looking at the car like it was an alien spacecraft. It suggests a software to drivetrain integration failure. Basically, the computer stopped talking to the engine. So, we have physical failures for racing bulls and digital failures for Alpine. But while everyone was spinning and breaking down, one team was quietly putting in a shift that should terrify the rest of the grid. Why is Mercedes suddenly immune to the chaos? While Ferrari was drifting and racing bulls was smoking, Mercedes was perfect. George Russell is P1. That's not a huge shock. The W17 is a beast, but the twist is Kimi Antonelli. We need to talk about this kid. In Australia, the gap was massive. 3 seconds is an eternity in F1. The critics were already sharpening their knives. Today, zero point 0.1 seconds. 1/10. Now, most people miss this part. Antonelli isn't just fast on one lap. He's mastering the active Aero reattachment issue faster than Hamilton is. While Lewis is fighting the physics of the Ferrari, Antonelli seems to trust the Mercedes platform completely. Compare that to McLaren. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris are fast P3 and P4, but watch the onboards. They are fighting snaps of oversteer constantly. The car is fast, but it bites. Mercedes? It looks like it's on rails. If this practice session is real, we aren't looking at a three-way fight for the sprint win. We might be looking at a Mercedes lockout. So, here's the bottom line for the Chinese GP sprint weekend. The 2026 cars are volatile, the grip is non-existent, and the active aero systems are catching out even the best drivers in the world. Mercedes is the only team that seems to have tamed the beast, with Antonelli looking scarily quick. Ferrari has a fast car, but if the wing doesn't work when they hit the brakes, they're passengers. And for racing bulls, they need to find out why their car decided to become a steam engine before qualifying starts. If this breakdown helped you understand why the cars are spinning rather than just that they are spinning, you'll want to check out my deep dive on the 2026 Aero regulations. That video is going to change how you watch the rest of this season. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'm just hoping the McLaren mechanics have stopped staring at Colapinto's broken Alpine by now. We need them to actually change tyres, not provide tech support for the neighbours.